Imagine a prison where men vanish without a trace. Not through riots, not through daring breakouts, but into thin air, leaving behind nothing but silence and suspicion. Guards baffled, families desperate, and officials swearing nothing unusual ever happened. But what if the truth was far darker? This is not just an escape story. It's a tale buried in secrecy, corruption, and something authorities don't want you to know. Tonight, we uncover the mystery of the disappearing prisoners. Before the vanishing began, the prison itself already carried a reputation. Built in the late 1970s, Ravenwood Correctional Facility sat on the edge of a forgotten industrial town. Locals called it the Iron Tomb, not just because of its rust-colored steel walls, but because once you went in, you were never supposed to come out. The prison housed the worst of the worst: convicted killers, cartel enforcers, gang leaders, and political prisoners swept under the rug. Inside, the air was thick with cigarette smoke, whispered deals, and the constant tension of violence waiting to erupt. But even in such a place, the one thing that was certain was that the system kept you locked inside. Until one day, it didn't. It started small. In 1987, inmate Luis El Gato Ramirez, a mid-level drug runner, was due for a transfer hearing. Guards reported seeing him in his cell at night. The next morning, the bed was empty. Sheets folded neatly. No signs of struggle. The bars still locked from the outside. The warden issued a statement. Prisoner transferred. All procedures followed. But his family never received notice. Court records showed no transfer order. And strange enough, his name was quietly erased from the prison roster. Other inmates whispered, El Gato didn't escape. He was taken. At the time, most dismissed it as clerical error, corruption, or an inside job. But years later, Ramirez would be remembered as the first sign of something much bigger. Over the next decade, disappearances continued. Always the same. An inmate here, another there. Records vanishing. Guards swearing they'd seen the prisoner hours before. Families told nothing. Some claimed they saw hooded figures walking prisoners out in the dead of night. Others swore the disappearances happened during power outages when cameras went dark. By 1999, at least 14 prisoners had vanished, all officially recorded as transfers, yet no receiving prison could confirm their arrival. Investigative journalists who probed Ravenwood stumbled on something chilling: declassified documents hinting at a covert government initiative known only as Project Echo. According to fragments, the program sought subjects for psychological and biological experiments, men who could disappear without raising suspicion. What better hunting ground than a prison where society had already turned its back? But the deeper reporters dug, the faster they hit walls, files shredded, whistleblowers silenced, and one journalist, Diane Cross, who claimed she was about to break the story in 2003, was killed in a mysterious car crash. In 2008, Ravenwood erupted in a violent riot, one of the bloodiest in state history. But amid the chaos, inmates broke into the administration wing and stumbled across hidden files. Inside, lists of prisoners marked with a single red stamp: extracted. The list included dozens of names, many of whom had vanished over the years. The files disappeared before investigators arrived, smuggled out by inmates who swore the disappearances weren't escapes at all. They were selections. After the 2008 riot, whispers became testimonies. One former guard, Michael Trent, who quit Ravenwood in fear for his life, came forward in 2010. In a taped interview, his voice shook as he recalled what he had seen. They called it the midnight transfer. Around 3 a.m., unmarked vans would roll in through the east gate. No paperwork, no signatures, just a list. The prisoners on that list would be shackled, blindfolded, and marched out. We were told to look the other way, or we'd end up just like them. Trent claimed the midnight transfer happened once every few months. Always the same kind of prisoners: young, healthy, and often without strong family connections. But most chilling of all, Trent swore that some of the men taken weren't criminals at all. They were ghost inmates, identities fabricated and slipped into the system to cover up something far larger. Shortly after this interview leaked, Michael Trent disappeared. His apartment was found ransacked, his car abandoned. To this day, he has never been seen again. By 2015, Ravenwood Correctional Facility was officially shut down. The government cited budgetary reasons and structural decay. The town cheered. To outsiders, the story ended there. But for those who lost loved ones behind those walls, closure never came. Families still hold faded photographs of men who were swallowed by the prison, their names erased as if they never existed. Investigators who reopened the files years later found one haunting detail. On every page where a vanished inmate's name had once been, a faint red stamp bled through the paper. One word: extracted. So where did they go? Some believe the men were taken to secret medical labs, human experiments buried under national security. Others think they were forced into covert operations overseas, fighting wars under new identities. And some, the most chilling theory F all, claim they were disposed of entirely, their bodies hidden in mass graves beneath the prison itself. The state denies it all. Officials dismiss the story as conspiracy. Yet no one has ever explained why so many inmates simply vanished, or why records were erased so carefully. Today, Ravenwood's remains stand as a skeleton of steel and rust. Local kids dare each other to sneak inside, whispering about the screams that still echo through the halls. And families still ask the same unanswered question: where did they take them? Perhaps the scariest prisons aren't the ones with the highest walls or the deadliest inmates, but the ones where men don't just serve time, they vanish into the dark. And maybe, just maybe, the mystery of the disappearing prisoners was never about escape at all. Maybe it was about control, and secrets we were never meant to uncover. Ravenwood Prison was demolished in 2017. To this day, dozens of inmates from its records remain unaccounted for. Ravenwood Correctional Facility may be gone, reduced to rubble and silence, but its shadows remain. Families still search for answers, staring at empty chairs during holidays, holding on to letters that will never be answered. Each vanished inmate isn't just a statistic. It's a son, a brother, a father, a human life erased without explanation. And yet, the official record tells us nothing happened, that the men we speak of never existed, that the files are closed, the question's irrelevant. But deep down, we all know, systems don't lose people by accident. They hide them. So, what do we do when the very walls built to contain criminals become the stage for crimes far darker? When the keepers of justice become the keepers of secrets? The truth about Ravenwood may never be revealed, but its silence speaks volumes. Perhaps the greatest prison of all is not made of bars or steel, but of questions we will never have answered.